Hello and welcome to Eye on Lower Merion. I'm Angelia Micalizzi. According to the U.S. Census data, the official poverty rate in 2021 was 11.6%, with 37.9 million people in poverty. It's not often spoke of in places like Lower Merion, but need exists here. And there are organizations in place to help those who need assistance. I'm speaking about the Ardmore food pantries at St. Mary's Episcopal Church in Ardmore. And joining me today to speak about the mission of the Ardmore Food Pantry is Beth Tewater, the manager of Ardmore Food Pantry. Welcome and thank you for joining me today. Just to start off with some of the basics, where is the food pantry located and what are the hours of operation?
The food pantry is located at 36 Ardmore Avenue. It is on the St. Mary's campus. We're right next to the post office and very close to the library, so we're centrally located and easily accessible for residents of Ardmore.
That makes it very convenient too.
Yes.
So who can use the services and how do they do so? Are there any requirements at all?
We are very unique in that we do not require anything.
That's perfect.
Most pantries, because the funding is attached to residency requirements or income requirements, do ask for verification, but we don't ask for anything but your first and last name. If you happen to be an immigrant or a refugee or someone who's not comfortable with that, we'll just take a first name, but we'll serve anyone. We feel very strongly that the person in need should be the one deciding whether or not they need help.
That's great. That's great. And as you mentioned on your website, it's not just for residents of Ardmore, so can anyone join or does it have to be just residents?
No, anyone can come.
Anyone at all?
Anyone can come,
Oh,
yes.
That's great. You help everybody in need.
Yes.
That's amazing. And what is available at the food pantry? So if somebody was to come in, what are they able to take home with them?
That's a great question. Food pantries, I think, are considered to be places that only give non-perishable foods, but we focus very heavily on providing fresh produce every week, eggs, and variety of meats and fish.
Oh, that's great.
So when I
people
first
can have a full meal out of it.
Exactly,
Too, not
yes.
just something that comes from a can.
We recognize that people in need often attend food pantries for years, and we are committed to long-term health and making sure that people receive healthful foods that will sustain them and not lead to high blood pressure, heart disease, and other things that come from poor eating.
Of course. Nothing that could make them unhealthy later on in life.
Yes.
You give them something that is a balanced meal, very healthy, like I said, not from a can.
Yes. And
That's great.
we are very intentional in what we buy so that people go with the ingredients to make meals, not just a random can of sardines, a sleeve of saltines, and some pasta. But they really have things where they can make 3 or 4 meals out of what they've gotten from visiting us.
So it's not a prepared meal, it's going to be different ingredients that they can actually make different meals at home.
Yes.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
There's a passage on your website that is very interesting. It says, "Beyond food, we believe in providing an atmosphere of mutual respect, understanding, and radical hospitality." Would you tell us a little bit more about what that means?
The interesting thing that I've learned, having been at the food pantry for a year now, is that people are coming for more than just food. Our hours we're open on Mondays from 11 to noon and then again from 5:30 to 7. I get there early to set up. At first couple weeks I started, I'd get there around 9 o'clock. There'd be people waiting. Thought, well, let me get here earlier because people are waiting outside. I could get there at 3 a.m. I think there'd be people waiting, but it's lovely in that people are also looking for community.
Yes.
And we are very fortunate to have the space to do that.
So if they do come earlier, because the hours you said, for example, on Monday or 11 a.m., You don't turn them away, correct?
No. We've created a kind of coffee house atmosphere. We
That's
have
great.
bagels and cream cheese, Uprise Bagels in Bryn Mawr, donates every week, and coffee and tea. I put out puzzles, we read poetry, and it's just a wonderful community
That's
that
a great
we've built.
community atmosphere
Yeah.
for sure. And the hours are also very convenient too, because even if somebody was coming after work for, let's just say, you guys will still be open.
Exactly.
That's great.
Yeah.
And how do you define food insecurity, and how does that factor into your mission?
Food insecurity, according to the USDA, is divided into mild, moderate, and severe. Mild food insecurity would be where you're worrying about if you will have enough food to get through the week. Moderate is when it's really impacting the quantity and quality of what you buy, and the severe is when you're actually going to bed hungry and missing meals. And I did a survey of our guests recently, and they, even though we are open to everyone, they are primarily Ardmore, Lower Merion residents, and I was stunned that 31% fall into the severe food insecurity category. Yeah.
And do you limit the amount of food that people can take?
We do have to limit because we serve so many people.
Of course.
But we try and make sure it's enough for people to not go hungry.
Exactly. And you did mention you mentioned that you serve a bunch of people, but how many people does the food pantry serve per week and per month, let's say?
It's per week we are between 110 and 120. Per month is hard to say because some months, because we're only open Mondays, some months have 4 Mondays, some months might have 5 Mondays.
Of course.
But this year alone, we've served around 350 distinct individuals.
Wow, you're really helping the community out. Not let anyone go hungry. How did the Ardmore Food Pantry come to be? When was it started, and how is St. Mary's involved?
Great question. St. Mary's was moved to open the food pantry in 2009. It was very small. It was grassroots, and it's continued to grow. And they are still very involved in the food pantry. Obviously, we are in their building.
Of course.
And many of the parishioners are volunteers and donors, and there's a very strong connection there to St. Mary's overall mission of social justice.
That's great. So you said you opened in 2009. Was there a need back then that is still there today?
The need has grown.
It has grown.
Even in the year that I've been at the pantry, we were serving on average a year ago 85 people, and now we're at 110.
Wow.
So the need is growing.
It is growing. And how can our viewers find out more information about the food pantry?
To find more about the pantry, you can go to our website. That's part of the St. Mary's Episcopal Church site. We have a page on there.
Oh, that's great. Makes it convenient too.
Yes.
So we can just look at home. How does the food pantry receive the items that it distributes?
We are so fortunate to have incredible support from the community. Schools are incredible. They do food drives. The Lower Merion School District is an amazing supporter of the food pantry. Other churches support, individuals also donate, and on our campus there is a shed where people can drop off donations 24/7.
That's great. And does it have to be people from Ardmore, or can anyone donate to the food
Anyone
pantry?
donates, and we do get people who call and might have an excess of diapers or something that they would like to donate, and that's great. We're
Very
happy
fortunate,
to
too.
we're happy to have that.
And if somebody was to donate, how do they do so?
They can donate food by dropping it off at any time, like I said. Also on our webpage, you'll see we have a GoFundMe page, and
Which also makes it convenient.
which makes it super convenient, and we are really fortunate to have a lot of people who do support us. We've recently started a campaign for recurring donations, which is a great help to organizations like us to have a consistent base of financial support that we know is coming in. So it's not so much about a big amount, but to know that that $25 or whatever someone might pledge every month will be there.
Exactly. And it's going to something that is very important and that people are in need of.
Yes.
So you did mention that you do take monetary donations on the GoFundMe page. Is there anywhere else that someone could drop off or even donate monetary donations? Or is it just strictly the GoFundMe?
It's GoFundMe, or on our webpage you can donate through the church has what's called Simple Give set up, and you just choose Ardmore Food Pantry.
That's great. And just to go back a little bit, you mentioned that anyone can drop off at any time. Does that mean that on the hours of operation, or could that be throughout the week?
Anytime, 24/7. The shed is emptied regularly, so of course non-perishables.
Yeah, of course. Don't want anything going bad.
Yeah, but we do check it regularly, and people can drop off anytime. So we try and make it as convenient as possible for people to give.
Of course. And what items are most needed? I'm sure there's a bunch.
Excellent question. Yes. To be honest, I ask for the more expensive items. Peanut butter, cereal, both of those have really gone up in price lately. Any kind of canned meat or fish. Pasta and sauce are always in demand. Coffee.
That's great.
Yeah.
Thank you for giving us a great overview of the services provided by the Ardmore Food Pantry. We have to take a break, but please stay tuned. We have more coming up right after this. Welcome back to Eye on Lower Merion. I'm Angelia Micalizzi here with Beth Tywater from Ardmore Food Pantries at St. Mary's Episcopal Church. Let's do a quick recap for those who may have just joined us. Can you remind our viewers where the food pantry is located and what the hours of operation are?
Sure. It's at 36 Ardmore Avenue, right next to the post office, and we are open on Mondays from 11 to noon, and then again from 5 to 7:30.
And where can our viewers find out more information?
They can go to our website. We have a page on the St. Mary's page, so it's stmarysardmore.org.
Perfect. And I do want to circle back a little bit to the quote that is mentioned on your website. Can you give us a little bit more information on that?
Sure. The pantry is based on trauma-informed principles, and that means that we provide an atmosphere where everyone is to feel safe, respected, and cared for. And we really go out of our way to treat everyone the same. Whether you're a volunteer or a guest, you deserve the same respect and dignity. And I feel that's really important. We see guests come in who have never visited a pantry before. Often it's what's called the working poor, someone who's working full-time but still can't make ends meet. And it's heartbreaking to see people who obviously they're there because they know they need the food, but the reality of giving your name and registering, people often tear up.
Oh, of course. And there's a huge stigma around it too, I'm sure.
There is. There's a lot of shame, and we do everything we can to dispel that. We refer to it as shopping, and everyone it goes through. It's set up. I like to think like a Parisian market. We have great donors. Trader Joe's is amazing. Trader Joe's in Ardmore. They give us produce and often flowers every week. And guests go through and choose whatever they'd like to have. And all the produce is in big baskets. You can choose your own tomatoes or zucchini or whatever. We try and make it as much like a shopping experience as we can, rather than here's your bag of food.
Exactly. And someone that you don't show that this is somebody that needs help. It's basically like a grocery store.
Yeah.
You're there to get what you need, go home, feed the family, feed yourself. That's great. And you create a huge community around it too. Like you mentioned before, like the coffee house. Everybody's always welcome. And it doesn't even matter if you're from Ardmore, if you're not from Ardmore.
So the community that we've built is incredibly supportive, and there's strong relationships between the guests and the volunteers, crossing all kinds of boundaries. People who would never interact with each other are friends and rally around each other in times of loss. We've had a volunteer who recently lost a child, and a guest whose husband suddenly died, and everyone immediately rallies around, what can I do?
How can we help?
How can we help? Let me give you a hug, whatever. And it's so much more than just handing out food. It really is care, compassion, community, and it's just wonderful.
That's incredible. So much empathy around it too.
Exactly.
It's community based.
Yes.
It's not just, here's your bag of food, like you mentioned before.
Yeah.
It's how can we help you? What is going on in your personal life that we could do?
Exactly.
And we don't see that often.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that. We're starting this week a pilot program of offering what we're calling a help center. So on Thursdays, just a pilot thing, we're just starting, from 11 to 1, I'll be there and I'll have a volunteer or two with laptops and information to help people if they need to know how to register for SNAP benefits, or maybe they don't have computer access to renew their driver's license or register to vote, or whatever it might be, help with getting on a utility payment plan. Whatever way we can help people in the other stress that comes along with food insecurity and hunger. It doesn't exist in a vacuum. There are other things that go along with that.
Of course, and you're always there to help. You're providing more resources that just other food pantries might not have available for them.
Yes.
It's back to that whole community thing that you have.
Yeah, and we're very fortunate because there are other wonderful food pantries in the area, but they don't have the space that we do. So we are very, very fortunate to have a place to gather and care for each other.
That's incredible. We touched on it a little bit, but how does the food pantry differ from other food pantries in the area?
We differ, I would say, first and foremost in that we don't ask for any requirements of any kind, and that means that people feel a lot freer to come to us because they don't have to bring documents or prove that they're in need. So people can come to us when they feel it's necessary. We do have the space, as I mentioned, which is very unusual, and we do offer an incredible amount of fresh food that's pretty
Which sometimes
uncommon.
You don't even see.
Yeah.
A lot of them are just non-perishable items right in the can, but it's great that you can actually, like we mentioned previously before we took a break, they can make a meal out of it. You're giving them fresh ingredients that isn't just, here's your meal from the can. Let's use all these ingredients, these fresh ingredients, and create meals for the week for.
Yeah, and it's great to see people try things they haven't tried before. I often do recipes, and we provide all the ingredients, and it might be something people, I never cooked with a fresh red pepper before, and wow, it was terrific, or I never used tarragon in a recipe, and it's great to see people cooking rather than just, hitting buttons on a microwave.
Of course.
And to see them be excited about, I made a meal and it was delicious and my family loved it.
That's great too. So you mentioned do you provide these recipes, or are they just, here's a couple ingredients, let me just tell you what you can make, or are they provided there at the food pantry?
I provide them, and
That's great.
Fortunately I love to cook and have a fair amount of experience doing it, so I can kind of look at a recipe, and obviously it can't be something with 15 ingredients.
Of course.
We have to keep it pretty simple. But it's been very successful. I really wasn't sure if people would take the recipe and the ingredients and try it, but I think, probably 70-75% of the people we serve take advantage of it.
That's incredible. And that's also something that most food pantries probably wouldn't provide as well.
I don't know, but I don't think so. Yeah.
And then, given all of your experience, would you tell us about the impact of the food insecurity on the individual? It's rare that it's the only issue in people's lives.
Yes, there are a lot of reasons why someone might be food insecure. Some might be job loss or significant illness that's led to medical bills, the loss of a spouse. There's a lot of reasons, and with all of those reasons comes stress and self-doubt and insecurity and a lot of shame, and it's a vicious cycle that people can spin out of. So that's why we feel so strongly about the community that we provide. There's so much that people gain from sitting at a table with others who are also needing a food pantry and seeing that, hey, these are great people and I'm not alone. I'm not the only one.
Exactly. You're not just there to get them their food that they need. You're there to be someone that they can lean on and talk to as well, and also provide them so many more resources than just the food pantry alone.
Yeah, and feel that they aren't the only ones.
Exactly.
The isolation that can come with certain social injustices is debilitating.
It also helps break the stigma.
Yes.
For sure.
Yes.
I'm sure you need so many volunteers to have this food pantry work in your favor, but how can someone wishing to volunteer do so? And is there any type of time commitment or requirement?
We are fortunate to have great volunteers, but are always looking for more. You just reach out through the website, and they're not only do we have volunteers during pantry hours, but on Thursdays we sort any donations that we've gotten. We don't take unexpired food, so that's very important.
Of course.
I feel that I understand that not all expired food is inedible, but it feels like the right thing to do as far as dignity to hand people
fresh food
within date.
Exactly.
So the volunteers come in on Thursdays and sort the food, and we prep for Monday, and we also deliver to people within a few miles of the pantry if they are incapable of getting out.
Oh, that's great. It's another resources that you have.
Yes, and that also sets us apart because we have an incredible group of volunteers who make the deliveries. A lot of food pantries use DoorDash or service they have to pay for to get the food to those in need, but we have volunteers who every single Monday, rain or shine, holiday or no, they are there delivering the food.
And that's amazing. Do you have any final thoughts before we end our interview today? Any final thoughts that you want to give our viewers?
It's an interesting business to be in that our numbers go, when the numbers go up, it's a bad thing, and that's not typical. But we're so grateful to the Lower Merion community for the support that they give us, and they constantly respond when we say we're running out, or we were really hit this week, or we've got a lot of young families with kids, we need baby formula, whatever, and people always respond. So we're just so grateful to be here in such a wonderful community that does recognize and respond to the needs they see in others.
I'm sure. We are out of time for this edition of Eye on Lower Merion. Thank you, Beth, for being here with me today and giving us a look into the valuable public service in our community. Once again, please visit stmarysardmore.org for more information and look them up on Facebook and Twitter. Thanks for watching. I'm Angelia Micalizzi. I'll see you next time. Have a great day.